and welcome again to Eat and Exercise for the Perfect Body, to our website eatinworkout.com. I'm excited about this particular recipe. It's recipe 5 and I've sort of named it chicken and cheese, would you believe, with a choice. We've got some alliteration going on there. You'll see what the choice is, but it's an amazing tasty recipe. It's fun. We're actually using orzo type of pasta, and it can be cooked. We're going to cook it in under, like all our recipes, in under 25 minutes. And this one I think has 350 calories, so much less than the 400 that we promise you. Once again, also remember, if this is your first time, go back and look at the previous 4 recipes that we've done, because everything that we do is under 400 calories, it's under 25 minutes, and it's completed by people who aren't chefs. We're just like you, getting home hungry, wanting to eat. But we know that you want to be healthy, some of you want to lose weight, some of you want to be lean. So with this one especially, there's a high protein content as well. In addition to our recipes, as you know, because it's Eat and Exercise, I'm going to come back out here, and boy is it hot today. We're in Miami and it's summer and it's about 92, 93, but you factor in the humidity, so forgive me if you start seeing drops. We're up into the hundreds. But I'm going to come back out into this area again, and I'm going to show you how to do a plank. Some people have already written into me and said, loved the ab exercises, Alex, loved the lunges that you showed us last week. Great for my glutes. Can you do something for the entire core as well? So I think we did bicycles a few weeks ago, but let's show you a plank, because it's a very, very comprehensive exercise. So follow me. I'll see you back into the kitchen, and we're going to show you how to cook this interesting dish. Okay, here we are, raring to go. I really like this recipe. So follow me in here. Before you do, while I was talking out there, I put on, as you can see, water to boil. That's going to be for our orzo. It's almost there. When you go to see the ingredients on eatinworkout.com, you'll see it at the bottom of the screen. I've halved everything, so I'm just cooking for 2 of us. The recipe is for 4, so you do the same. So there's about almost 2 cups of water in here for a cup of orzo. I've got the oil in the saucepan, that's on. I've got a 10-inch skillet there, and I'm using extra virgin olive oil as well. Use that sparingly. I talked to you about it once in a recipe. It's wonderful. It's a monounsaturated fatty acid, yes, but it's caloric dense. 1 tablespoon of that is equivalent to the number of calories in a glass of wine, and I prefer wine, so we're looking at about what, 120, 130. So don't just go drizzling it everywhere, okay? Measure it out. All right, let's have a look at our ingredients. Here you go, Chris. Chopped onions, already done that. There's your dried oregano. Chicken broth, again I've halved everything, so we're using 1 cup there. I've taken some peeled, juicy, large tomatoes there, and what I've done is I've actually cut them in half. I'll tell you about that a little bit later, but they're going to be a bit more manageable. Here's our crumbled feta cheese. For 2 of us, there's like almost a cup of orzo, and I've taken a large, I cut it a little bit, but a fillet of chicken breast there. That should be enough for 2 people. I'm just going to, while we're here, let me season it a little bit, but it's going to get a little bit of salt through our sauce and everything. Good. What I will tell you quickly about the chicken broth is that it is low in sodium. Okay, that's very, very important for those of you who are worried about heart disease, hypertension, blood pressure, raised blood pressure. Go for the low sodium version as well. Good, I think we're there. There's a little bit going on in this recipe, more than the others, but it'll be simple when you follow us through, okay? I've got my little card here which you can do. So now that the pan is there, follow me through. I'm going to add some onions. Don't pour them into a cold pan, let them sizzle straight away. That'll get all your senses going. So we've got the onions there. I'm just going to let them saute for a little bit. Oh, there goes my phone. Someone wants us. That's okay. So let them saute in the oil just for a little bit to give it some flavor. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chicken broth that we had, and basically half of that I'm going to add to the onions. So here we go. Now that my onions were fried, so now they're sort of boiling a little bit in the liquid, but that's good. You wanted to fry them first. While I've done that, this is where you've got to be skillful, like a juggler, okay? We all know this in the kitchen. It's not a big deal, but you obviously want your orzo to start. So the water was boiled, as you saw. Let's just add it. Now with pasta, and this is a type of pasta orzo, you don't want to break up the consistency of the starches and the carbohydrates. So what you do is you're just going to stir it once and leave it. I think somebody taught me this. I was in Italy one year. I'm no chef, as you all know. I don't need to tell you that. But don't play around with pasta too much. Okay, that started. What we're going to do now is, while that's boiling and our onions are partly cooked, good. And what we're going to do for you is we're going to start to add the oregano. We're going to create a sauce here. So here's my tablespoon of it. That goes in there. Let me stir it in. Okay, you can see now we're making the base of our sauce. The beauty of oregano is it goes fantastically well with tomato and chicken. It's a really good accompaniment. Now why I called this dish with a choice is you have a choice. Some of you just may not like the taste of oregano or oregano, so use some rosemary. Or you can use, well, there's other things you can use as well. You can, rosemary, what else can you use? Oh, basil, chopped up dried basil you can use as well. That's good with chicken. But I love this combination. And what we need to do now is we've got our seasoned piece of chicken. So I'm going to add that into the recipe. So here you go. You're going to hear this fry. I'm going to turn the heat up somewhat. Alright, because I want that to start to cook. So it's boiling along, you're getting all of those juices there, and they're going to be absorbed by the chicken. Now you're probably asking, hey Alex, how long does that go on for? Well, we're going to add that for about, until it's sort of brown slightly, so you're looking at maybe between 3 and 5 minutes, just depends on your heat and everything. While that's happening, let me talk to you a little bit about chicken. We've never mentioned this, but as you know, this website is about not just fitness, not just about losing weight, not just about getting strong, but it's the overall component is health. And a lot of people, in fact thousands of people here in the USA every year, tens of thousands, unfortunately fall victim to certain bacteria, and the biggest one with chicken is salmonella. So I'm going to give you, there are others, but I'm going to give you 4 considerations, 4 things to think about when you buy poultry, raw poultry from your store. First thing is, buy it last. When you walk into your grocer's, don't get it first, because you've already pulled it out of that cool box, that cooler, and now it starts getting hot, and that's when bacteria starts to form. So buy it last, first thing. When you also purchase it, put it in a separate bag, especially if you're buying other meats, okay, those bags are there. And another really good tip is if you've already got in your shopping trolley or your cart some cold items like milk or some frozen items like veg, put this meat next to it in the shopping cart, keep it cool. That's the first thing. When buying chicken, go for, most of it now is antibiotic free, but look for USDA certified on the label. You'll see that. There's another one called American Grass-Fed, I think it's called, certified as well. Those are antibiotic free. That's a second. A third thing to look at is when you bring it home, there's no need to wash your chicken. Your chicken was fine, it was pre-washed. If you do, you're going to run it under the tap, it's just going to splash the bacteria everywhere. So no need to do it. What will kill bacteria is the fact that you're going to cook it. You want the internal part to be at least 165 degrees. I've got to be careful here because I'm sounding too much like a chef. But anyway, I'm just trying to make sure everything is healthy and safe for you. And if you don't have a thermometer, I have one in here, you just, it's in here somewhere, but you just look for look for the fact that when you cut it in the center that it's not pink anymore, okay? And the other thing, the fourth consideration is when you cut it and it's raw, let's say you want to, I'm going to do it when it's cooked, but when you want to cut it into pieces, then use a separate chopping board always, a different chopping board from your vegetables as well. So here I've got this orange one that you can see, it's a darker one. For my vegetables I obviously characteristically and obviously use the green one. So that'll keep yourself healthy. And also if you're touching it, just try not to touch your faucets, your taps, and use paper towel to dry yourself off rather than a cloth, because you're just transferring the bacteria there. So hopefully that should keep you safe. Look, this is browning on this side. Look at that, great. So even got some pieces stuck to it. I'm going to put a little bit more chicken broth in there as the other side starts, because I don't want to lose all my oregano. I want it to still stay in a bit of a sauce there, okay, for a second. Our orzo's going on there. I'm looking at the clock. That's excellent. Now what we're going to do is, that chicken's almost browned. I'm going to leave it one more minute and then I'm going to add these tomatoes. So let's have a look here. Yeah, so I cut it there so you can see it's just a little bit pink on the side that we haven't transferred over, or we just turned over, but the rest of it is starting to look white now and everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the heat down just a fraction. It's boiling, but I don't want it to overboil. Okay, so now let's add these tomatoes, and as you can see I've dissected most of them. Did so to make them more manageable. You'll see this later on when we serve the dish. It looks better than having big large chunks there, and Chris and I are hungry. We want to eat this really quickly, so we can't be bothered to cut them up. So they're already done for us, so that all goes in here away from everything. Okay, let me have a quick look here. See, I told you I'm not a chef. Do you have these chefs on the cooking channel with all their cards? No, I don't think so. They're too smart for that. All right, we've done it. I've just got to add the rest of the broth here. Okay. Now this is going to be easy for you because you're going to see this in our videos on the. You could actually trick somebody as well. I was just thinking about this. You could trick somebody if you didn't like them, or your spouse or something. You just want to trick them. You could pretend this was wine and pour it into a glass for them as well. What we're going to do is, that chicken has been cooked on both sides, so I want it to start to heat and cook on the inside. He gets down on his knees, but here it is. If you've got one of these, a big lid that you can cover your chicken, and turn the heat up just a little bit actually there. I just want it bubbling a bit. We're going to put this over it, and that's going to sit there for, what did I write down? 10 to 12 minutes. And then you'll know, because you'll just give the chicken a once over. We'll do it when we return to make sure that it's not pink. So in the meantime, while all of that stuff is cooking, let's get onto the balcony. I'm getting incredibly full of perspiration here. Let's get onto the balcony. I'm going to show you how to do a plank, okay? See you out there. Here we are on the floor out of the kitchen while our chicken is cooking away. So we've got a few minutes to show you how to perform a plank with absolute form. Remember, I was telling you, fabulous exercise, mainly for the core. So we're talking about abdominis rectus, your ab muscles, your obliques, your hips, and also your rectus spinae, the lower back. Fabulous exercise. It will help you with yoga moves as well. The other thing about this is it's an isometric exercise. What does that mean? Basically, it's where force equals resistance. You're not going anywhere. But it's very important to get this right, and you will really feel it in your abs. I tend to do this after an abdominal workout. In between my sets, I just roll over if I've been doing sit-ups, and then I just hold this for about a minute. Okay, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to put my watch on now. Let me talk to you about the things to avoid first of all. So how's that, Chris? Okay. All right, so as you can see, try to be in what's called neutral alignment. Things to avoid: hunch shoulders. So relax the shoulders, just relax them. Chin parallel to the floor. Don't come all the way in, don't elevate, because when you elevate, you'll bring your shoulders up, your hips will dip down. Then you want a natural curve in your lower back. It's called your lordotic curve. So you don't need to straighten that. The rest of your spine it's like one vertebrae stacked on top of the other. But lower back has that neutral curve in it. Keep the hips parallel with the floor. Don't raise them, don't drop them. And now your ankles want to be at 90 degrees. Don't push back, don't come forward. And imagine that someone is stretching your legs. And the last thing you don't want to do is hold your breath and grimace. I've seen people do this. They start to shake. Well, look, there's a minute already. So, talk you through it. Natural alignment in the spine, natural curve in my lumbar region. Relax shoulders, hips up, ankles at 90 degrees. The core is tight, but you can still breathe. Look, I'm talking. You can still breathe easily. If you're good at yoga, or you want to really use this to calm down, breathe through your nose and out through your nose, Ujjayi breath. And this will keep you really, really, really calm. All right, there's your plank, everybody. Let's get ready. Let's get back into the kitchen. Okay, back from the plank. I'm still out of breath. Look at this. Let's remove the cover. Drizzle, drizzle. Wish you were here, because this smells beautiful with that oregano and combination of tomatoes. Just going to turn it down slightly, but we're going to need to thicken this sauce. But there you can see chicken is cooked. Look at this orzo. This is cooked. Let me taste a little bit just to make sure. Brilliant. Absolutely. Yeah, that's brilliant. Okay, so what we're going to do next, Chris, hang on in there. I'm going to grab a plate. I'm going to remove this chicken, because we're going to do something interesting with the sauce now. So chicken, look at inside, is white, beautiful. I'm going to cut that in a second. In fact, let's do it now. You can leave it. You'll probably have people, look at that inside there. You'll have, oh man, it's still got a little bit more time to cook. It's cooking as we're speaking, especially if you guys love sirloin or filet mignon. You cook it, as you know, as soon as you take it out of your saucepan, especially if you like it medium rare, it's still going to cook inside. All right, let's put that there. I've chopped it on my different board. I'm going to put it on this plate and leave it there for a second. Okay, let me grab a quick plate here, Chris, just to keep it warm. Now we've got to focus on making the sauce. So here's my cheese. This goes up really, this is really high. As you see, it's thickening, and that's exactly what we want. So I'm going to take this orzo. We have a colander here, little sieve, goes inside. Be careful, you can put your face above it and you can get a facial at the same time. There you go. Not that I need one here in Miami. So I'm telling you, as I said earlier, it's over 100 degrees. Okay, let's get a little bit of the starch out of it. But let's leave that there for a second, let it dry. Good, back to our sauce. Let me turn that around here. As you see, it's thickening all the time. I think in one of my other recipes I said emulsify. Just shows you again that I'm no expert. It's actually being reduced. So we're obviously boiling the water out of it. But there's your mixture of broth and oregano. Now here's the pièce de la résistance, as the French say. We're going to add this feta and we're going to wait for it to melt slightly. And you're going to be amazed what that little bit of feta does to the taste of this dish. It sort of binds everything together and it gives it a very subtle, I'm waiting for it to melt because I don't want any lumps in it. It gives it a very subtle flavour of softness, and it melds in beautifully with the sweetness of the tomatoes, and then you've got that strength of the oregano. Okay, the orzo is here. Drained it, bring it back, it's drier. Going to add the orzo to our dish. Look at that. Now, even if it doesn't taste very good, which it is going to, this is such a wonderful melange, mixture of colours here. I mean, gosh, look at that. And look how the orzo just absorbs all of that sauce and juice. And you've got the nice value of the tomatoes in there. So you're going to let it stay here for... I'm going to taste it a little bit because I had a little bit of chicken broth left over. Oh man, that is so nice. And as I say, you get that lovely little soft flavour of the feta cheese in there. Okay, so there that is. That's still cooking away. Orzo is absorbing all the juices in there, especially from the tomatoes. Our last bit here, create some room, is take our chicken, and this is for two people. Well, I had a bit of a small breast there, and just add it all back into the dish. And let it just sit there and let the chicken absorb all of those flavors. All right, well that is just, I'm going to give it a minute or so. Here's our plate. Man, don't know you back home, you're probably thousands of miles away, but I'm telling you now, believe me, as Donald Trump says, believe me, it smells good. And it's wonderful. All right, I'm going to turn this off because I can see it sort of bubbling. It's got a little bit juicy again, which is fabulous. But what a fantastic dish. You've got everything in here. And guys, worried about your prostates, you've got lycopene from the tomatoes. What I also like about this recipe is it really is under 400 calories. I think it's like it's even under 350, 347, something like that. Go to our website, eatinworkout.com, click on recipes. This is recipe 5, and you'll see the full breakdown of not just the ingredients and the measurements, but the caloric value as well. And you will see this is very, very high in protein. I think it's got about 35 grams of protein. All right, do we want to look, Chris, a little bit professional? Okay, let's get some parsley here, and let's put a little sprig here. And I see these guys do it on their shows. There, and then there's one more. All I can say is, Martha Stewart, eat your heart out. All right, they even do this, don't they? They even get sort of like a little napkin in all these restaurants, and to round it up and make sure that the plate is there. But look, this is for 2 people. I put it on 1 plate, but look how much of this there is. There you go, chicken and cheese with a choice. There's a quiz question attached, so we're going to grab a couple of glasses of wine as we usually do, and I'm just going to pose the quiz question to you. See you in a moment. Well, here we are. This is my favourite part. You can probably hear it in my voice. It's a lot calmer now. We had to sort of speed through this. It's not complicated, everybody. Very, very simple. It took less than 20 minutes to make. And as you know, less than 400 calories are going to go into our stomachs here when we just tuck in a second. This is recipe 5, chicken and cheese with a choice. Meet us again for recipe 6, which is a spaghetti dish, actually. Again, under 400 calories. For all information, go to eatinworkout.com. You'll see it at the bottom of the screen. And just to let you know, finally, I'm going to end with this. We always have a quiz question that you can again visit the website and put in your answer, and whoever we pick the correct answer will get a prize. Earlier on, I gave you a number of them, but come back to us and answer the question on the 4 conditions that you really should meet when purchasing raw poultry. Okay? I was in the kitchen talking about it earlier on. Well, this one is cooked. It smells very nice. You can see all the lovely steam pouring off this dish. So Chris and I are going to enjoy it. Saúde, as they're saying in Brazil right now, because the Olympics are on. We wish you well. Have a great week. We'll see you back here next week for recipe 6. Bye.